Yo.
Oh,
Yo, what's up?
okay. I have a question for you here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're seeing this?
Yeah, let me make it bigger. Yeah, what's up?
this is the page on custom hooks.
Yep.
And so here, it has, right now, what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like, wow, nothing is. Okay, I mean, I'll just let you read it quickly if.
No, I know what it's doing. What's your
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it has this custom hook, use online status. And it's returning, so okay, correct me if I'm wrong here. It's returning the state variable. So what happens is,
Well, yeah, okay, continue.
yeah, so what happens is, when it calls use online status here,
Mm-hmm.
all this code gets run, and then this gets returned into is online.
Yep.
But
Yep.
these window dot add event listeners are still attached to the window, like on line 5.
Sure. What's up?
Is that right?
Well, they're okay. So the window, those event listeners, right? It's looking for an event called online or offline, and those are applied upon the first render. And if the effect is fully re-rendered, which means that one of its dependencies has changed. So by the time you're running H1, right, that's like later in the rendering pipeline, where the DOM has been basically calculated already, and now it'll be running the use effects. So it's like, okay, hook up those effects. Is that event being fired somewhere else on the web page, and then the state variable is updated. I'm a little unclear on like what you're asking here.
Well, okay, I have two questions. First of all, since use online status is called twice, does that mean that there's two
Well, it's not called
separate?
twice. No. So that's the whole thing with a hook, right? A hook is a way where you don't have to replicate that logic. It is only fired once on the part of the rendering pipeline where the use effect gets fired. The fact that it's being accessed in two separate functions just says, okay, I want both of these functions, which happen to be components here, the status bar and the save button, to have access to the state of whether the client or whatever is online. And basically, whichever one gets rendered first is going to be the one that fires. It'll run that effect. And if it gets called again, it'll either detect whether it has been run and is online has been set, or if it hasn't, it'll run it at that point. So basically,
Right.
whichever one of those components, the online status or the save button, will cause the call of that use effect, and then it'll continue to use that value until the whole site is like re-rendered from scratch.
Right. Okay. So in that case, then it takes me to my second question, which React tries to be like their philosophy, right? Not always, of course, but they try to be functional, right?
Yeah.
Isn't this like terribly unfunctional?
You're conflating the use of like closures, or sorry, lambda functions for like the use of a hook, which is basically reusing logic in multiple places.
No, but I mean, what I'm wondering about is that this use online status. So this is a function at the end of the day, right? And this function has like very big side effects, intentionally.
Right.
So that's obviously very bad.
No, it's not. This is exactly how you should be writing this. sort
But
of.
it's not functional.
Yeah, okay. When I told you React is functional, I didn't mean it is actually supposed to be
No, I mean,
fully functional.
I'm
where you're
not
using functional
quoting you
examples.
here. I'm just saying like the React developers, like their philosophy is to try and create a functional paradigm, right? And I'm wondering like, am I right in saying that this doesn't match their other like design choices, I guess, because this isn't a functional
No,
you
because
know.
I don't think they've designed it with a full functional paradigm in mind.
Okay.
Like this is exactly how you would do it. You have this logic that needs to be used in multiple places. You pull out that logic, that shared logic from whatever components you need into a single place and have the state managed